And we're live. Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Happy Monday to you. Hope you are all having a fantastic 2020. And I figured I would just kind of do a live stream and talk about a little bit of kind of what's coming up and just talk about a couple of things that I've had on my mind lately and just kind of have an open kind of hangout with you guys. I haven't done like a live Q&A in a while. I have done some other live streams, but I just haven't done a kind of just a general sit down and talk to you guys. So, I figured I was kind of a little overdue for something like that. And I was going to stream, I was going to play some Red Dead Redemption 2. I actually just recently picked that one up. And I was gonna stream Red Dead Redemption 2, and then I just didn't want to work on stream for some reason. It was like when I would select the window, it would freeze the window in the stream, and so it just wasn't updating. So it was going to be impossible. So I have to figure that out. Maybe I have to patch or update something. So, go ahead and drop your questions in chat. I will try and get to them. Priority will go to any super chats that come in, but I will still try to get to as many as I can. But also want to talk to you guys about a little bit of things that are coming. There's a lot of, I've been doing these what to expect in 2020 videos, and we've been getting a lot of updates and a lot of early release stuff. I talked about today a lot of the X-Wing stuff that was dropped really early at Barnes & Noble, which is really surprising because it kind of makes you wonder what exactly is going on between FFG and a lot of their communication with retailers like Barnes & Noble. This is two waves almost in a row now. What was it? Was it wave 4? It went early, and this is wave 6, so maybe 1.5 waves so not exactly 2 waves in a row, but Will with the super chat. So all right, well, we're going to start off the questions there. So Will asks the same question in about every single live stream I think I've ever done, as a matter of fact. So Will RH1022 asks, what is your favorite fish? I am going to probably say narwhal, although I don't think narwhal technically counts as a fish. I do really like tuna, but I don't know if that counts as a fish also. And I also really like shrimp, and I know shrimp definitely doesn't count as a fish. So if all of those things do, or if any of those do count as fish, I would go with those. But in the absence of all of those things, I'd probably say bass, sea bass, big, like a Billy big mouth bass, because from what I'm told, they can sing to you. But yes, so I don't know why. What I don't know what I don't get the infatuation with the fish questions though. I that one eludes me. What does this have to do with Armada? This this has to do with everything. This isn't just an Armada. You can ask Armada questions. You can ask X-Wing questions. You can ask Legion questions. You can ask other questions like games like Dark Side Rising that's never going to be available in the United States. All kinds of questions like that. So we're gonna talk about a lot of those things, but yeah. So Barnes and Noble is the big story right now because they there was this like early wave 6 stuff that's shipping early, and it's really interesting because if you look on according to the FFG website, I'm gonna actually open it up right now because let me make sure I'm correct with what I'm saying because they may have updated it. But like they have some card packs. It looks like a staggered release for all the stuff that was supposed to be coming for these card packs, because they have the fully loaded devices pack, the Never Tell Me the Odds obstacle pack, and that are both on there as of coming out in January, but they don't have the aces in the same place. Like Aces, they say, is coming out in February, the Hot Shots and Aces pack. So that is strange. So what I had done is I had put a pre-order in for the fully loaded devices pack and then never tell me the odds pack because those were going to be hopefully shipping soon. And then Barnes & Noble has them like all like right now. I went up to my local Barnes & Noble and they did not have them in stock. And it's weird because they won't show up in search results, but if you search for it specifically by name, they do have it. My stuff shipped. I'm going to have a lot of it tomorrow. So I probably won't have a video early in the morning tomorrow. I'm probably going to have like a later in the day video. But yeah, so there's gonna be some X-Wing unboxings. I think the priority is going to go to the Fireball and Von Reg's tie, and I think Hot Shots and Aces is gonna be the very next one, because they that one is coming latest, and so like getting that one earlier in case there's anything that hasn't been spoiled yet. We got another super chat from Oscar Montez. Thank you, Oscar. So you have a $100 Amazon gift card, and you're looking for the best paint set to buy. I am going to share with you something that was on my Christmas list this year because I've used a couple of different paints now, and I do really enjoy Green Stuff World's paints, but they didn't have the regular acrylic set yet. And well, I used to use Citadel paints, but I really got tired of the pots that they're in. So I'm actually going to try and see if I can find the specific set, but Vallejo is what I'm going to suggest to you. If you get a set of Vallejo paints, Vallejo is very good. And they're in the dropper bottles type, so you're not going to have to squeeze out more than you need. And they're going to. And Vallejo is just really good. Like their black is one of the best blacks you can ever find. It's really a flat black. Let me see. I'm gonna see if I can find it. Vallejo paint set. There's a couple. If you search for Vallejo paint sets, you're going to see a couple of them. I think I went with the medieval set, but I think they have a few different types. There's a basic colors Vallejo set that's not bad. It's on sale right now for only $43. That one's not bad at all. I think I went with the medieval colors, but yeah, like I'm just gonna link you one of them and I'll let you search for some other ones. But this is a really good solid paint set. I'm gonna link it in the chat. There we go. All right, so hopefully you'll see that. But that's only $43. And that's a pretty robust paint set. You're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16 different paints in there. You got a black, a white, like all of your primary colors, and a couple of other colors as well. And then you have a lot left over for other things. So, and yeah, I would definitely suggest, like some people in chat are talking about getting thinner to do that. Like I wouldn't usually suggest mixing your paints with water to thin them out. You definitely do want to thin your paints, but acrylic thinner is going to work a little bit better. But yes. Chris Zenga is in the chat. What's going on, Chris? How you doing today? You wish you could post a pic of your Vallejo tube exploding on Sunday. So funny thing, I actually had a paint tube, or just one of these dropper styles, explode on me yesterday, and I was really in a bad mood because now here's the thing. If you guys have seen any of my Legion battle reports, I have done a lot of Hoth or like wintry, frozen, icy, snowy stuff. So I have this snowy playmat, and I was using some of it was Green Stuff World's golden paint because I was doing a new set of B1 droids, and I had painted them like a dark blue, and I was doing highlights in gold on the joints. And I was trying to get some of this gold out, and it was kind of hot, so I squeezed extra hard, and then the whole top popped off. So that's when these dropper bottles, they do have a top section that is removable with a little bit of force. So my advice is with dropper bottles, keep like some push pin, thumbtack type things happy. Stick it in there to dislodge it a little bit before you start squeezing them out. And if you squeeze and nothing comes out, don't squeeze too hard. Because you can have one explode. I was able to get most of the gold paint out. So we got another super chat from Bleed Green Productions. Thank you, Bleed Green. I don't see a question there, so I don't have anything to answer for you, but I do appreciate the support, and I thank you guys all very much for that. It's kind of like you buying me a cup of coffee. So I mean, I definitely appreciate that. It definitely helps. So yeah. So yeah, we let's see. I started doing some more painting. I don't have any pictures to show you guys. They're not fully done yet. I've got to finish these guys. But I bought a 6th set of the B1 battle droids, and I didn't want to initially because I had bought 2 core sets and an extra single B1 expansion, so I could do an unboxing of the B1 expansion. That was 5, and I figured for most of the core that we've seen so far, 5 of this first starting core is more than enough. Like, who runs more than 5, stormtrooper units nowadays? So I was like, I'm not going to need that. But since we really haven't gotten much more for separatists lately, I'm like, I might want to try out some droid spam. And I kind of hope they do more with sub factions to change limits. I would like to be able to run more than 6 core for certain factions, but I'd also like to see entourage abilities, especially with like the droids. I would love to see for some of the separatist leaders to have like Newt Gunray, for example, to have entourage B1 battle droids, or maybe entourage droidicas or something like that. So there's but these B1s I painted a little bit differently, so I'm going to be trying to do some droid builds in the near future, since I can actually run all 6 now. But then in February we've got the trooper expansions coming out, so there is a lot of that going on too. And I'm going to scroll up. I know I missed a couple of questions. I'm going to do that. So let me go up. I'm going to try and get a couple. But yeah, we got 40 people watching right now, so that's pretty cool. Thank you guys to everybody who's hanging out with me tonight. I do appreciate you guys stopping in, and I'm going to be taking questions for a while. I'll probably be on for at least an hour, maybe a little longer. It kind of depends, and after that point, we'll kind of see if there's still a lot of traffic or whatever, what we can talk about. But I mean, there's so much to talk about right now with. Between everything that's been going on with FFG, the Barnes & Noble leak, all the new Legion stuff that's coming out, X-Wing stuff. I've got a bunch of X-Wing stuff coming in tomorrow. There's some other product reviews coming up. There's some Kickstarter reviews that are coming up. There's a lot of that stuff that's going to be coming out soon. And also some patron suggested videos that I am working on for this month as well. So that's all pretty cool. So let's see here. So Will is asking, will you look forward to the clone special forces or the droid special forces more for Legion when they come out? That's the problem is I don't know what exactly they're going to be. So Bleed Green with another super chat. Wow, thank you. Are you more? All right, hold on. Let me answer the one question first, and then I'll get back to that. But I do like to give shout outs as they show up. I need to get some kind of integration, so when somebody does a super chat, it like pops up on the screen. Like that would be really cool. There might be something like that. I probably should do some more. I don't live stream like every week, but. As to the first question with the Special Forces, until they announce them, I won't really know. I am not personally hung up on, like, if they are, I think the most likely thing we're going to expect are, like, assassin droids or, like, the commando droids or the Republic commandos for clones. If they're just that, I may be a little less excited. I kind of hope they don't get, like, the standard sniper, saboteur kind of complement that Rebels and Empire have. Or at least that they're not exactly the same, just because that whole strike team, like the last prime I went to, everybody's running strike teams and stuff. So it's like everybody's running 3 sniper strike teams. It's like almost mandatory you have exactly 3 striper strike teams, and it's just did I say striper snike teams? I don't even know. I meant sniper strike team. I don't know. Anyway, so I guess it's going to depend on what they are. I'm more hopeful that we're going to see some Force user special forces. So maybe Night Sisters, maybe Inquisitors for the Empire and Rebel or something like that. But I'm like hoping for like generic Jedi, and I think special forces might be a nice option for the Republic in that way. So I would say probably a little more hopeful for the Republic. I kind of want the Republic to be my main faction at one point once they get built out well enough, but we're going to have to see. So on to Bleed Green with the Super Chat question. Are you most excited for Obi-Wan or Cassian Andor? Well, we already have Obi-Wan. Wait, you're not talking about Star Wars Legion. You're talking about the shows. Okay. So a little bit of context there, because I thought we were talking about Legion, because they just announced, for context, they just announced a Cassian Andor expansion for Star Wars Legion as well. And we also have Obi-Wan that came out not too long ago with the Clone Wars core set. So as for the shows, I am currently more excited about the Obi-Wan show. But only because we have a lot more that we can speculate. So this is a good opportunity to talk about shows, because there's a lot of show news and there's a lot of things to talk about with Star Wars, because like people are thinking now that episode 9 is done, we've got we're done with Star Wars, and we're really not. There's so much planned, but definitely more excited about Obi-Wan right now, and primarily that because there's so much we can predict about how that show will be. First off, Deborah Chow's directing. Now, I don't usually follow directors, but her episodes of the Mandalorian were amazing, especially episode 3. It was phenomenally well done. So that gives me very high hopes for the pacing and the style of the show, that it will be in that style. But I don't know who is going to be really doing the Cassian Andor show right now. So I mean, it's not a knock on the Cassian Andor show. It's just I know a little bit more about the Obi-Wan show. Also, Obi-Wan's timeline. I definitely expect the Obi-Wan show is going to be able to do a lot more. And since one of my favorite things about Star Wars is the Force and lightsabers and stuff, I figure we're definitely going to have that in the Obi-Wan show. Whereas the Cassian Andor show might be a little bit more in the ballpark of the Mandalorian. I kind of expected to be more about grit and guns and the underworld and kind of the darker side of the rebellion. That's kind of the feel we get from Cassian, and I feel like you already have a little bit of that feel in the Mandalorian. So I guess. What I would, I think Obi-Wan's going to breathe some, fresh life into, it's going to be more different. Cassian will be probably good. I hope it'll be good, but it may be more of the same, where I think Obi-Wan will be a little bit more of that, hey, prequels are back, and here's Ewan McGregor again. And we're like, oh my gosh, I love Diego Luna, but I really love Ewan McGregor, because there's been so many more years of him, and there's so much. And Chris Zinga, you're right. There is so much Star Wars coming out, so much. But there's just so much Star Wars. It's a good time to be a Star Wars fan, honestly. It's also a bad time to be a Star Wars fan, because there's so much toxic fandom out there that just won't let people enjoy what they want to enjoy. If you're that type of fan, just please remember, let people enjoy things. If somebody likes something that you don't like, or if you like something that other people don't like, that's okay. That's totally okay. But the other thing about the Obi-Wan show that gets me really excited is the fact that I think it means we're going to see Obi-Wan fight Maul again. As here's what we do know. Solo takes place before the Obi-Wan show is supposed to be taking place. We do know at some point Maul was after the Clone Wars concluded, right? Maul had risen to the top of the criminal empire, right? He had his own syndicate, Crimson Dawn. He is at the apex of his power in the galaxy. He is a super mobster, at a very height of power. Okay, he'd already gotten his revenge on Obi-Wan when he killed Duchess Satine in the Clone Wars. Right? You took my legs, I'll take your love. So he got his revenge. And now he had been defeated by Palpatine, and then somehow escaped from that, and then risen, and I think that was in one of the comics, I just missed it, but he had risen to the height of power. The next time we see him in canon is this big time jump to Star Wars Rebels, not long before A New Hope, where he is now bent on revenge against Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he is now a vagabond, lost everything, right? He's like homeless. So there's definitely a gap there that needs some storytelling. How did he go from being a mob boss, of one of the most powerful crime syndicates in the galaxy, to being homeless and seeking revenge on Obi-Wan Kenobi? So obviously, what seems to me is that Obi-Wan is going to take down Maul, and that's, I think, what's going to happen in that miniseries. So and however they want to do that, it just sounds amazing to me, because it's probably going, like, I don't know how they're going to do Maul, if they're going to have Ray Park do Maul again and have Sam Witwer do the voice again, which would be awesome. It's like two of my favorite people doing Darth Maul. I love Ray Park, and Sam Witwer. I'm Sam Witwer might be my absolute favorite Star Wars celebrity, period. He's just amazing, and he's a big advocate for Star Wars gaming too. The RPG, all the tabletop games, dude is like in our corner. So I love Sam Witwer. So the fact that we may see them is also exciting to me. Plus Ewan McGregor, and it's also an opportunity to run into other characters like Ahsoka, which I don't really think the Cassian Andor show does a whole lot with. So really long answer to that question. Way more excited for Obi-Wan, because I can envision a whole lot more fan service, and the director is going to be awesome. All right, so I probably missed a whole bunch of questions, so sorry to that, but I'm going to try to get to as many as I can. Again, priority will go out for super chats, because they comes up in a big highlighted thing, so it's easier for me to see and not miss them. But I hope you guys are doing well tonight. Hopefully, Monday hasn't been too rough for you. I know sometimes, that first day back at work after the weekend can be rough. I actually had a fantastic day today. It was very, very busy. So some of you don't know, I actually work a regular job. YouTube is not my job, even though I do it every day. Like it kind of is my job. I guess I work two jobs, because I pretty much go all day, every day. I usually don't get done until close to midnight. And so it's rare for me to actually sit down and play video games anymore. Like I almost never get to. And so I was really looking forward. I was going to really try and stream Red Dead Redemption tonight, so I could be like, guys, this game is so fun. You could just walk around and like shooting people and stuff, and kind of get that murder hobo out of my system before it's time to play D&D or something like that, so I don't end up doing it there, because that was going to be like my chance. But yeah, so that didn't work. I was like, I was going to try and kill two birds with one stone, because I really wanted to do a live stream. But let's see here. Let's try and get into some other questions, huh? Who do you think the commander will be for the clones in Legion? This is from Will Gates. Well, we already have two commanders for clones. Maybe the next commander. Who do I think the next commander will be? I think right now, I think Anakin Skywalker is a very likely version, although I would rather them wait on him. I feel like doing, characters like that are supposed to be so powerful too early. Like, I feel like they did Palpatine too early for Legion and for the Empire. And it kind of says, all right, well, if this is the most powerful a character can ever be, then it kind of restricts your build space for things, because who's going to be more powerful than Palpatine, really? Like, there should never be anybody more powerful than him. So, yeah. And happy birthday to Liam. Liam McGurdy. It's your birthday, and you got a ton of Legion stuff. That's awesome, dude. I am happy for you. You definitely have a lot of painting and assembly to do. All right, let's see here. So let's see what else is coming up too. Because I was talking about some of the other things I have coming up. Oh, here's a. I don't know if you guys saw my unboxing. I have got this sitting on my desk here because I am trying to get some plays in of Sky Tier this week, because I am doing a review for that. The guys over at what is this company called again? They're I can't. PvP Geeks is the name of the company. This was actually, I think, on Kickstarter a while back. So that is going to be coming up soon, because I do games outside of just Star Wars games. I do occasionally do like non-Star Wars games as well. But yes, so do I think there will be a clone Z95 Headhunter ship? No, I don't know. I feel like it's possible. I feel like any ship is possible, but at the same time, like, I think that probably, like, when they start, that'll be probably be when they were scraping the bottom out of the barrel. Real talk. How in the hell do you get time for board games? All right, I'll give you a little bit of my schedule, because I have 3 kids, and we actually just got a dog, and that's it's tough. Now, one of the things is I usually come home for lunch. I'm fortunate enough to work pretty close to home, so I'll actually, on my lunch break, instead of going out to eat or whatever, I'll actually come home, and that's a time where I will usually, so a lot of times I record videos on my lunch break, or I'll do research for videos on my lunch break, and usually when I come home from work, I'm playing with the kids, checking homework, doing household chores, honeydew list, that sort of stuff. Once the kids go to bed, that's usually when I get to work. Then I'm either recording or preparing a video, or doing or maybe trying to build something, like putting clones together, doing the painting that I need to do, any of that stuff, trying to get all my gaming stuff in a row. A lot of times, I'll be up until about midnight. Sometimes I'm up past midnight trying to get, because I'm in the pattern right now of doing a video every day. And sometimes it's more than that. Although sometimes videos are very easy. Like today's video, one of the ones for today, because I had two, because they dropped this new article about the Adepticon exclusive for X-Wing, for that N1 Starfighter. Well, that was a real easy video, because that one was only a small amount of information, so it wasn't like I had to really read everything and process it all. And like that one I was able to do very quickly. And so sometimes when there's articles and things like that, I will try to get more than one video done in a day, because especially if it's time sensitive, if it's some kind of breaking news and I have the ability to do it, I usually try to make time to do it. Although sometimes I'm late going back to work for doing stuff like that. So, but how do I make time for games? Is I have certain nights during the week that are like dedicated for gaming, right? And I usually have 2 nights a week that I have set aside to game, and that's how I try to do it. Unfortunately, that means I'm not always able to get all the plays in I want. Like, I don't get to play Star Wars Armada enough right now, because usually people aren't available to play Armada on those dedicated nights. So that's kind of it. So I try to, and my wife she's the reason I'm able to get gaming, and because she will just kind of take the kids, and then she'll put them to bed and do everything. Like on a Tuesday night, for example, she'll do all of that, and I can just go out, and like I get to be like free single guy gamer, not single guy, I guess, but like I have no responsibilities tonight. I can just go out and game, and like that's like one of the greatest gifts a spouse can give, is that kind of freedom. It's like, don't worry about it. I got it. I got everything. So that's super awesome. So yeah, that's how I'm able. And then every once in a while on the weekends, and then sometimes I bring the kids with me too. But yeah, it's but for me to, like, I wouldn't be able to do this if I didn't actually love this stuff. I literally love this stuff, so it makes it not feel like a job. Otherwise, I would, because it's not like I make a lot of money doing this stuff. I mean, I've been doing this stuff for going on 8 years now, and I'm now starting to make a little bit, but it's still like I've got so many expenses. It's it was I think it wasn't until like last year that I actually started making money, and before that it was all just losing money, because I would have to buy all the stuff to review, and a lot of stuff, especially the collectibles. There's a lot of like expensive collectibles that I bought to try to do reviews of that it just doesn't go anywhere. Like I bought like this Nerf Rivals First Order Stormtrooper blaster. It was like $100, or maybe it was more than that. I don't even remember if it was 100 or 150 or whatever. It gets like a few hundred views, and it's nothing. I'm like, well. But then again, every once in a while, like that Darth Vader helmet review, like that one blew up, and that one has paid for itself. So it's like kind of a gamble if buying something to review is going to pay off. So, so it's one of the reasons I love to, like, when there's like people who are making terrain and things like that are going to like help with Legion or whatever. A lot of times people will contact me and want to send me stuff to review, and a lot of times that's like, I'm very, very happy to do that, because for one, a lot of times that means free terrain for me. So that's one less thing I have to purchase, because terrain is expensive. Like when I built the Naboo set of terrain for the Legion battle reports, that was like, by the time I was done, I think I had spent over $300 on trying to get all of that 3D printed, because I got a lot of stuff I got like 2 tables worth of stuff 3D printed because there were some misprints, and then I had to get like painting supplies for that too. I had to get different paints, and then some other just extra little things like a Model N1 Starfighter to go on there too. And but it's an investment because it makes the battle reports more fun, but it also, I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it. So yeah. But yeah, it's definitely for the love. Let's see. All right, I'm sure I've probably missed a bunch of questions, so I'm going to try and get back. Let's see. The Dr. Bones asks, which Naboo ship would you want brought into X-Wing? I really like the full chromed out ships from like the one from episode 1 and the one from episode 2. Those were pretty cool. I wouldn't mind seeing. I think those might end up being a little bit too big, but I think the one from episode 2, that really wide one, that one could be a huge ship. I think it totally could. So I would love to see those, and plus with that chrome effect, they would look really sweet. So I would like to see those big chrome Naboo ships. I mean, I think there's really only 3 Naboo ships, right? It's the N1 Starfighter and then the 2 big chrome ones. So I mean, I don't know if there's that. Maybe I'm missing something, or maybe there was stuff from the Clone Wars that I'm overlooking. I have to watch. I'm watching the Clone Wars again. Let me reposition here. But yeah, I'm watching the Clone Wars again right now because when I saw it last time, or the first time, the fact that it was out of order really annoyed me. So then I kind of just put it on a different screen, and like I used to be able to watch it at work. So I'd be working, and I'd have it on a different computer, and so I would, on a different monitor. It was a long time ago before they cracked down and put up firewalls and proxy servers and like, this is not authorized. You're not authorized to watch Netflix while you're at work. I'm like, yeah, I know, but you used to let me. but yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, all right. So apparently I missed a couple. So the chat is telling me that I am wrong. There is more than that as far as actual ships. Well, thank you guys for letting me know. So I guess I don't have the best answer, but my answer is still going to be those big chrome ships. And the other reason for that too is that a lot of those other factions need huge ships also, right? Now, granted, I don't know how much future there is in huge ships right now. I don't know if FFG, if it makes enough money and they just had those layoffs, I don't know how that's going to impact future products. If they said, hey, huge ships aren't really doing too well, nix it. That would be rough, especially since they never made a Raider, and the way, if they don't make any more going forward, that's going to be a real bummer. So yeah. All right, let's see. Let's see. Let's scroll up, and I'm looking for some more questions in here. There's a lot of stuff. Let's see. Likelihood of Thrawn showing up as the villain in the next trilogy post Rise of Skywalker. I think if it's post Rise of Skywalker, I think that's the wrong time for Thrawn to show up. Granted, the species age differently. Thrawn could still be alive, but I think what they're going to do, I think what will happen is Thrawn will be in a different story, not necessarily post Rise of Skywalker. Have you guys heard? I mean, there's a lot of rumors and talk going around, and I don't do as much like general Star Wars news. And maybe I should. I don't know. The problem is I do have limited time. So like there's a lot of things I want to make videos about that I just don't have the time. And if I tried to do it, it would be very half effort. And because like there's a lot of like I don't want to just do videos like, hey, there's a rumor they're making another Star Wars Rebels show. Like, and there is a rumor about that, but since it's not confirmed yet, and I didn't really have the time to dig up all the sources and do like investigative journalism, I just wasn't able to, make a video about that. But since this is a live chat and much less formal, and there are rumors that there's basically a sequel to Rebels that's going to be coming out. So that's really exciting, and I think that's where we're going to get Thrawn and Ezra. So if that does actually happen, and if it does happen this year, which is, I've heard that this year, that doesn't sound likely to me. It might get announced this year, but I think even if they were announced at like soon, I still don't think we would see it this year. But yeah. Any news on Armada reprints? I have not heard any news on Armada reprints. I really wonder what's going on with Armada. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little worried with like the whole the whole thing about the layoffs and like the whole corporate side of FFG saying we need to shut down that which is not making good profits, because it makes me wonder if they're going to look at Armada and say Armada is not making much profits. And the thing is, like, well, because you have no product on the shelves. That's why nobody's buying it, because there's nothing to buy. If you produce it, people will buy it. And that's the problem. Every time Armada gets a restock, it's sold out instantly. So like so I'm afraid that the wrong person is going to look at those numbers and not understand the context that goes with them. But that's also something else I don't want to make an entire video about, because I don't want to send people into a panic, because it's just some stuff I'm thinking about. It's, again, before I did that, I would have to, I think like the fair thing would be to like get a statement from FFG, like, hey, is Armada like in danger due to bad numbers or something like that? Granted, they usually don't give out information about their finances and numerical information like that, but I would love to get I would love to get some type of reassurance from FFG. It's like, guys, Armada's fine. It's just going slow, but it's fine. I mean, we know that they're working on the Clone Wars, so I guess there shouldn't be too much reason to worry. I hate the pace and how it's so slow, because it's such a great game. It's still my favorite game, even though I really, really love all the games that Star Wars makes, minus Destiny. I'm really not that big of a fan of Destiny. The FFG, all the Star Wars games they make, but yeah. Let's see. Any Jump Troopers and Legion? There are not. Well, I mean, I guess you've got Sabine and Boba Fett in Legion, but I'm sure they'll do Jump Troopers. I would love to see more jump keywords, especially once the Jedi come out. So I think we are due for a whole lot of jump coming out. I want to see more, terrain that's of multi-tiered height in the terrain. So a lot of like, think of some of the 40K terrain you see where you got like these destroyed buildings, but they're like 3-story buildings, and there's still parts of each story left. I want to see battles that are happening vertically as well. And I love the idea of being able to do that. So yeah, I would like to see that, but I think to really make terrain setups like that more feasible, you're going to need more Jedi, which have jump, right? And hopefully most of the Jedi have jump. Maybe not all of them, but I think a fair number of them should have jump, or at least jump 1. You might even see some with jump 2, which would be kind of cool. Or maybe a force ability that gives you jump 1, and if you have jump 1 already, then it gives you jump 2. So things like that would be kind of fun. But then again, they're really situational. There's a lot of upgrades in Legion that depend very greatly on the type of terrain you use. And certain areas, like if you only play at home, you may only use certain types of terrain. You may never have a need for environmental gear or the climbing, to get expert climber or anything like that. So some keywords and upgrades may be completely useless to you on your home table, which might have totally different effect on a table if you go to a tournament, So that's, but still, I do think jump is going to be helpful, because it's more versatile than just having to climb up on things. It also gets you over other pieces. Also, like lets you make an approach from behind something, then like jump into melee, and then ha. So very fun, possible stuff. Let's see what we got here. Also, out of you guys who are in chat, I'm curious how many of you are all caught up with all of the big Star Wars stuff right now. In other words, like The Mandalorian and Episode 9. Like, is there anybody who still hasn't seen Episode 9 or The Mandalorian yet? I mean, it's been a long time. It's been almost a month since everything has come out. So I think everybody's seen everything, but because, I'd love to be able to talk about that stuff too. But I also don't want to be rude and accidentally spoil stuff for other folks. So Chris Washington is asking for a cheap commander for separatists. I agree, my friend. I think they are going to definitely do more of that. I think we're going to see more staples for a lot of those cool. So I'm reading some of that. I think we're going to do a lot of staples for all of those factions and all of that stuff that we got early with Rebels and Empire, like the like kind of like the specialists, like the Imperial and Rebel specialists, how you had that cheap generic commander, but it was also, a personnel upgrade that can go into any core unit. I think we can see things like that. I think that tactical droid is a perfect option. An interesting thing though is that like if you have a big disparity in the droids now, like it wasn't as big a deal with rebels. Like let's say you have your commander, right? Like this mini counts as an extra. This figure counts as an extra mini for this unit. Okay, that sounds great. But the thing is, like as more and more expensive units came out, like look, the mini who is like a leader, right? If you put him with stormtroopers, okay, well that's like a 20-point guy, all right, or 19-point guy in the stormtroopers. Right? And sure, he's a leader, but he just counts as one extra stormtrooper, attacks like a stormtrooper and all that stuff. But like, and then you put him in snowtroopers, he's okay. Well, a snowtrooper mini costs like 1 point more, so you're getting a little bit more. But then when you put him in shore troopers, you're getting even a better unit, right? A better miniature. That so like, but he still costs the same. So now when you go and look at like a guy who is basically a leader, are they going to do a generic leader that is balanced for the B1 battle droid unit? Because then what happens when you put him in a super battle droid unit? All of a sudden now he's gaining 2 health, right? Because if each mini in the super battle droids are 2 health, so like same thing with the medic. If you put a medic in there, that's a 2 health medic with armor, right? So like that's kind of cool. So yeah, I'm just I'm really curious on if they're going to change their approach to that, which is really cool. So we're talking a lot of Legion tonight, guys. Do me a favor in the chat. Let me know what your main or like what your like maybe top 3 games are. Like start with the top, like are you primarily an Armada player, primarily an X-Wing player, or primarily a Legion player, or multiple games? Just curious, like so it kind of helps me to know. Like I'm always curious, like. Because I do cover those 3 are kind of like the holy trinity of games that I tend to cover, and I'd hate to like steer this whole conversation for Legion and like I don't want to like leave half the audience, because there is also like there's plenty of X-Wing stuff to talk about. There's plenty of somebody mentioned Imperial Assault. Yep, Imperial Assault is kind of still around, but not real. I mean, like it's a complete game, but they're not going to support it anymore. There's no new stuff coming for Imperial Assault, it seems. So yes, let's see. Here we go. Olmith the Broken is your first time in stream. Do you think the Cerberus will see a KX security droid unit in Legion based off of the K2SO's introductions? I absolutely. Well, actually, it's funny you say that because, the Separatists will see a K. Maybe I have to look up a K. I'm going to look that one up real quick. KX security droid. Sorry, my keyboard is really loud. Well, that looks just like K2SO. Well, I don't think the Separatists will see that, but the Empire is certainly going to see that, because in the cast, well, maybe not the Empire, even the Rebels are actually going to see that. I think it's likely that we will eventually see multiple, like a KX security droid type. And it may even be possible for certain like droids to be cross-faction if they introduce sub-factions, like if they do a droid-specific sub-faction. But we have K2SO coming. He's going to be in the Cassian Andor pack. So that is definitely happening. Do you think that there will be another Star Wars Armada fighter pack? Let's see. Maybe. I think the fighter packs are probably a little bit cheaper for them to produce, and they know people are going to buy them. So I think that is a very possible thing. Although I think we're at a pretty good point as far as squadrons right now. I don't think we really need a whole lot more fighters, but I think it's possible. I wouldn't mind seeing another dual faction. Well, first off, when they do Clone Wars, there's going to be a lot of new fighter packs. I wouldn't mind seeing more dual faction fighter packs, or even a quad faction fighter pack, like some type of like Heroes fighter pack, which has like a new Rebel, a new Empire, a new Clone, and a new Separatist, right? Like something like that would be pretty cool for this way everybody, you buy something, you get something for every faction. And that would also be smart business wise for FFG, because they can guarantee a lot of people would buy it, because no matter which faction you played, you would buy it, so that's a possibility. So let's see. All right, so let's see. Gavin Raw says, you're wondering if you were going to see another lightsaber giveaway. You really want one, but don't have the extra $100 laying around. Well, I do. I have one going on right now, but it's for actually $25. So what I do is I don't actually mail the lightsaber. I did that for the 12 Days of Life Day giveaway. I actually mailed out physical product. The problem is, I live in the United States. Some people who won were in other countries. And I've come to find that it's more expensive to ship a board game than to buy the board game. Like, there was one, I think Labyrinth was like a $50 board game that cost me like $70 to actually ship to the winner. And I should have been like, hey, dude, would you just rather a gift card? Like, but I didn't want to change it after I already won. I committed to that, So usually I go with digital gift cards. Or when I do promos for promo giveaways, that's just something I stick in an envelope. I've got lots of stamps, so that's easier to do. But as far as digital gift card giveaways, I am going to continue to do those. I have one going on right now. It's just not for it's not for $100. I do $100 once in a while, and there are some new lightsabers coming out later this year, somewhere I think around May the 4th. So I may end up doing, spoilers, this is like an early prediction. I'm not committing to this right now, but I may end up doing a $100 giveaway when the new lightsabers come out. That's a possibility. So that's pretty cool. They're gonna. It looks like there's a Asajj Ventress, a Dooku, and a Kit Fisto for the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series, and those are pretty fun. And the funny thing is, a lot of people may not really approve, because these are like collectibles, right? For me, there's no such thing as a collectible. They're all toys. I try to keep them in fairly good condition, but I let my kids play with the lightsabers, supervised, of course. But we'll go out in the back. We had a friend over, just this weekend, and we went around in the backyard and we were playing with them, and it was fun. We had a good time, But I do try to take care of them. I definitely don't want things to get broken. But I think if you're not playing with it, then you're wasting some of the money. And granted, different strokes for different folks. Some people really do like just having stuff in the box, kind of on display. But I really like being able to play with them. All right, so let's see. We got to take a couple more questions here. I'm probably going to go for just a little bit longer, so get your questions in now. If I missed you, I apologize. There's been a lot, actually a really good chat tonight, by the way, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. You guys are amazing. I do really appreciate all of you, and I hope your New Year's is going really well so far as well. So that's cool. Out of you X-Wing guys that are out there, what are you more interested to see first? Because I think tomorrow, so I ordered a bunch of stuff from Barnes & Noble. I didn't order everything because I had some things already pre-ordered from FFG that are supposed to ship, like those other card packs. So I have, I think I have Hot Shots and Aces that's shipping right now. I think I have the RZ-1 A-Wing, the Major Von Regs tie, and the Fireball. So I'm curious what you guys would want to see first. I know that I think everything already has been spoiled, but still, it's nice having a good, high res, close unboxing where you can really get some detail and look at it, and a lot of people like to watch those. What do you think the best way is to get a friend into a game? Well, I think sometimes it depends if that friend is a gamer already. If they're already into a gamer, usually it's not that hard. A lot of times you have to set up a simpler version of the game. So if it's X-Wing, right, what I usually will tell people, don't run upgrades. Run generic pilots, like a demo game. And I've done this a lot. It's kind of like the way that FFG has their demo team, which I have worked for multiple cons, multiple times, is you have a very simple setup. When I would teach Armada, I would just teach the core set, although I usually like to have a little more than the core set. So core set plus one, something like that. But yeah, so I would definitely suggest getting a simplified setup. Go with the most simplest forms of the rules. Legion is, pardon me, a little bit more complicated because there are important mechanics that can get complicated. So like, and some of the demo tables, I know at Star Wars Celebration, like we were teaching Legion without going half. It's just like move and shoot, move and shoot, move and shoot. And like, oh, by the way, now that you're done, here's some other things. Like there's aim tokens you could spend, there's dodge tokens you could get. And then there's also something called suppression, but there's more about that. If you want to learn more, check out the rule book, etc. But wanted to just kind of get people in, get them playing, because a lot of your target audience wasn't gamers. If people are already gamers, it's a lot easier to get them into stuff. So if they're not a gamer, you may want to get them into a gateway game. And gateway games are great because they're like lighter. Light games are really good for that. X-Wing kind of was my gateway game because I wasn't much of a board gamer. I mean, I would play like Monopoly and Risk and things like that, but I was never into really any heavy board games. So for me, I started off with X-Wing. I saw it on tabletop with Will Wheaton, and I absolutely fell in love with that. So Will Wheaton's always going to have a place in my heart because he got me into all of this. He started me down the path by making it look so much fun. And that's definitely an important part, to emphasize the fun. But after that, I was just playing X-Wing for a while, and then somebody invited me over, for a game night and to introduce me to Dominion, which was the first deck builder I ever played. And, he explained the concept of how a deck builder was, taught me the rules. We played a very simple, kind of like a core set version of it. And then, like a couple weeks later, he invited me over again. We threw some expansions in there, and he showed me about how board games have expansions and all of that sort of thing. So yeah, I would find some really popular, like a gateway game, something that they would like if they're into any particular, like if they're into medieval stuff, go for like a medieval type of gateway game. If they're into science fiction, maybe X-Wing is a good one. But yeah, I wouldn't throw somebody who's not a gamer into something like Armada or Legion right away, because those are a little bit heavier. X-Wing can fill kind of the middle ground. So we got a couple other questions here. We'll take some more. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Do you plan on attending any other Legion tournaments this year? There's a possibility I may be going to. There's a second Prime in Florida that I may be going to. It's not locked in yet, but I may be going to that one. There may be one more. And then there's always that possibility of Adepticon, which I still don't know. I have to kind of see how some things going. I should know by the end of the month if I'm able to go to Adepticon or not. Heck, maybe I'll go to Adepticon and not be playing in a tournament. Maybe I'll just go to walk around and, say hi. But, so Adepticon is very much up in the air. And then, Gen Con is almost a guarantee. I'm going to really do everything I can to make sure I can go to Gen Con this year. It will probably mean, because again, like I said, I don't make a whole lot of money off of YouTube. So traveling to conventions is not cheap. It's expensive. And I usually don't make, sometimes Gen Con, I spike in views and I make a little extra money in Gen Con, but it doesn't really justify all the costs of going there. But it's such a good time that I'm okay with it. But I still, to do that, I still end up having to work for FFG because, hey, it's expensive. All right. So do you think FFG is going to do Armada 2.0 a la X-Wing? I hope not. I don't believe so. I think the way that they did X-Wing 2.0 has turned out to be really problematic. I know that there's some great things, and so I'm not trying to be like, oh, X-Wing 2.0 is bad, but there were some really bad things I think about X-Wing 2.0. I am not, and I know some people are divided on this. I am not a fan of not having the upgrades on the cards and not having, I would rather you have the upgrades on the cards. I would rather you have the points on the cards because it's just, for me, it's a real pain in the butt looking at a card and not having any idea what it does. So that's a me thing. Especially it hits me harder than most other people because I'm in the business of oh, there's a new preview. Let's put it up on the screen and take a look at it. And I can't talk about it as much because I can't theorize. I can't list build with it. Like it's a lot harder to do that. And if you know that this ship, okay, well, it's got an interesting ability, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, if you know that that's there, well, all right. Oh, it's only 12 points. Oh, well, now this is a really good ship because you can run 8 of them in your list. Versus, oh, it's 75 points. Oh, well, this is overcosted. Or, oh, it has 2 modification slots. Oh, that's cool. Oh, it's got 2 talents. This pilot has 2 talents. Awesome. So now, and that really opens the door for so many things. So it helps if you can really see. We got another super chat from Sean and Sam Plays. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Awesome. I appreciate that very much. Their question: do you think clone commandos are Republic's first special forces? Also, hopefully this helps you get to conventions. Absolutely. Well, I do appreciate that. And that is definitely one way to help me get to convention. But yeah, I think clone commandos are an obvious inclusion. I don't know if they will be first. But I can't really say, like, the only other thing I think that might also come are like generic Jedi. I think that would be a pretty good one. I think we can potentially see other ones once they get into doing like sub-factions. Again, we don't know how sub-factions will work, whether they will be, units that can be used with this faction also get a bonus if they're in a sub-faction. That's something like that. But yeah, I think clone commandos are probably going to be coming sooner rather than later, and they very well they were probably going to be the first special forces because I know a lot of people really want them. Problem is, I don't know what else is going to be after them, so they may be like the quintessential special forces. So it's possible FFG may want to hold off. Like, wait. That's what everybody really wants. Let's give them. Well, like let's say you had, all right, clone commandos as their special forces, but you also had another special forces, and we'll call it like maybe ARC troopers, or maybe it's something a little bit less. Like we'll call it like clone battalion 249, something that's like maybe much lesser known or something way obscure. It might make more business sense to release the obscure special forces unit first, because everybody's going to buy it or every clone player is going to buy it because there's no special forces out yet. So they may very well say, hey, nobody's going to buy this one, so let's release this first, so they have to buy it. Of course, I'm not trying to like project them as being evil, but like if I were running a business and was trying to think what's the most efficient way to release my stuff to maximize profits, that's probably what I would do. I would release the thing that's least likely to sell first, because then those people are going to have to buy it since it's the only option. Then when clone commandos come out, maybe 6 months later, well, we know everybody's going to buy that because that's what they've been waiting for. So that's like, that is at least one mindset that they may follow. But again, I'm really just speculating because I can't really think of a good obscure special forces unit to use. Although I guess if it was obscure and I could think of it, then that would counteract. But yeah, thank you for the super chat. From Cameron, how is my new dog doing? Well, I know Cameron. I talked to you about a dog that we got. That one was biting the kids, so he had to go back. And it wasn't just like a few bites. He was like chasing them down and biting them, and I think attacking them, and even drew blood. So he couldn't stay. No, so we had to bring him back to the shelter, unfortunately, which we didn't want to do, but it was getting really bad, and we couldn't even keep him long enough to try and find him another home. So we had to get rid of him. And it was terrible. Like I was kind of wrecked after that. So we ended up getting, we rescued a different dog. We got a German Shepherd mix, and she is amazing. Bigger dog. She's still young, and she's got a lot of empathy, and she can tell if you're stressed out. She'll come lay on you and calm you down, and she's freaking amazing. Her name is Hera, and she is, I love her. I absolutely love her. So, all right. So we're only going to go for a little bit longer, but I do want to thank everybody who, if you're just joining in now, I'm sorry you kind of jumping in towards the latter section of the stream. Let's see here. So, who is the better female protagonist, Rey or Jyn Erso? Wow. I have to go with Ray here, and it's not a fair comparison. The problem I've got is that initially I thought Ray was a little bland until episode 9, like, kind of put it all together. Like, I felt like Ray was just like building for something, building and building and building. And then 9, well, I mean, I enjoyed 9, but 9 kind of compressed. Like, 9 needed to be like 2 movies. It needed to be like 9 chapter 1 and 9 chapter 2, too cold. Because it was too much that they were trying to tell in too short a time frame. But yeah, but Jin just had one movie, and she had to fit everything as she was going to ever do into the single movie. So you just couldn't fill as much into that. Jin had a good sob story, I guess, but I also saw a lot of things I didn't like about Jin. In that, like, there were certain things like how she was willing to just, like, there was this line when she's talking to Saw Gerrera about, like, oh, well, you just keep your head down. You don't keep, I don't have to notice the imperial flags held high when I keep my head down. Like, she was going to ignore the problem. And so I was like, oh, okay. So you're okay with imperial occupation, just if it doesn't affect you. So it was very non-heroic of her, at least in that moment. But then, like, in the very, 5 minutes later, she's like, we've got to go do this for the rebellion. And I'm like, really? Okay, all right, So I felt like, look, Rogue One was a great movie, but there were some of the characters, like, I feel like they didn't have as much depth, especially Bodhi Rook, who I thought was really cool, but didn't get enough screen time to, like, tell his story. I felt like he was just, like, kind of like thrust in here, like, hey, we need you to just be, like, dude who works for the Empire but absolutely hates them now, and go. Like, I felt like we needed more Bodhi Rook, for me to really feel for him. Certain characters are, maybe I just want to feel more of a connection with. But that's just nitpicking, though. I mean, Rogue One's still a great movie. Jin's still cool, But with Rey, in Episode 9, there were some really cool things that I think really helped complete her character as good as they could do it. And that's, like, where basically towards the end, where she, and again, we're going to talk a little bit about spoilers now. So I'm assuming everybody's seen Episode 9. So this is your warning. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So, but her basically realizing that she is a Palpatine, and having to make this choice of discarding all of that. And like, I thought that was, like, casting aside, like, a toxic family, and choosing a good family, like, because family can be a tough bond. Like, family was the thing that was haunting her the whole time. I think years from now we're going to go back and look at, because a lot of people have very mixed opinions on the sequel trilogy, and I get that. I have some of my own, but I still enjoy it. It's a good problem to have. I'm very happy to have, I'm very happy to have Star Wars movies that maybe aren't my favorite, because it's just more Star Wars movies. So this is how I look at these things. But yeah, I think time is going to make this trilogy kind of, we're going to go back and we'll be able to look at it through different eyes. And I think Rey will, be kind of seen as a better character, especially once, like, people are growing, like kids now that are going to begin to discover these movies, knowing that Rey was a Palpatine from the beginning, and then watching her whole arc again through new eyes is probably going to tell you something new. And just Jin just didn't have the luxury of having an entire trilogy. She only had one movie, and so that's why it goes to Rey. Hopefully that's a satisfactory answer. All right, guys, we're going to take, like, maybe 2 more questions, and then I'm going to hang it up for the evening. All right, so somebody asked about epic or huge ship predictions. That's a loaded one. I think we did just get a new First Order huge ship that would work really well. That I don't recall the name of it, but in Episode 9, the Knights of Ren's ship, that would be a perfect one for the First Order. Although I think there was another one in the comics that might have worked, but I think we need to go for something on screen and recognizable, because again, FFG's kind of made that clear, that things that are recognizable are more likely to get made because they can prove, since they have investors now and it's not a privately owned company anymore, since they're public, right? They have to be able to say to investors and to board members, like, look, here's why it's okay to try and produce this game, because we know it's going to sell, you know. Michael Murray says, Crabbok, I really want to see you review a game called Nemesis. I have, dude. I have reviewed Nemesis. I was one of the first people to ever review Nemesis. You should Google Crabbok Nemesis and see what I think about it. Spoiler warning, it's one of my favorite games of all time. Yes, it's amazing. Nemesis is amazing. But yes, let's see. Other huge ship predictions. I don't know what we're gonna do for the Resistance, because like the Resistance is so screwed right now when it looks like to try to come up with a faction identity for any tabletop game. All they are is a hodgepodge of everything else. I mean, they have a couple of fighters that are new, and that's really like the only thing that Episode 9 really gave us was a bunch of new fighters for X-Wing. But if you're looking to make, you know, a Resistance faction out of Legion, you know, that one's tough. I'm working on a video idea for that, so I don't want to give away too many ideas because it's complicated. First Order has a much easier time trying to come up with stuff. But yeah, Resistance is going to have a rough time. But like, I think the Clone Wars has it real easy. There's a lot of, you know, mid-sized ships. I think that first ship, and now names are escaping me because I usually prepare this stuff because I've done a lot of huge ship prediction videos already. But I think the Republic is going to get that very first ship, the Consular Cruiser. I think that's the most obvious one that you can do. And then for the Separatists, it's a little more tricky because they have a couple of ships that fit the bill, but not too many that are really recognizable on that role. So the ones that are more recognizable are like slightly more awkwardly sized, like those big octopus ships that land and attack Geonosis, Camino, not Geonosis. But another one of the ships that was on Geonosis is another option too. So I've done a couple of videos on huge ship predictions, but yeah, there's quite a few. And then those drop ships from Episode 1 are very recognizable. Maybe the most recognizable ship for the Separatists that's in that size category. But at the same time, it's a drop ship, so like you kind of getting into like GR-75 transport kind of territory, and it may not be that cool, you know. So it's a tougher bag there. It's possible that Clone Wars Season 7 will shed some new light on new Clone Wars ship ideas. I hope it does. I'm really anxious to see, and that's supposed to start next week. Do you think we'll get ships in Legion? No, I don't. I wanted that once upon a time, but they'd be way too big. Closest we might get are certain drop ships. I think we might get a LAT or certain things like that in Legion. But I mean, I'd love that, but I just don't think we're going to get it. Although they could do them at a smaller scale if they have them on a really tall base and they're flying above. But they're going to run like a Y-wing trying to drop bombs or something like that. It's going to be going so fast it would only be on the battlefield for like one round. And so I just don't think that would be that cool. I think ships and that type of stuff in Legion is represented through command cards, like calling in bombing support. I mean, we see that with like Veers and Leia and things like that. All right, guys. Well, I think that's about all I've got for right now. I'm going to see you guys later. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight, though. It's been fun. So I probably won't have a video early in the morning tomorrow because I have some things showing up. I'm going to try and get a review in. I got a couple of orders of X-Wing stuff that's coming in. I'm going to be working on those tomorrow. I'll try to get at least one out by tomorrow evening. But we're going to see. We're going to see how it goes. But there's going to be a lot of reviews and a lot of things coming. This month is going to be a busy month. X-Wing's got a ton of stuff coming, because of Barnes & Noble. And then Legion's got a ton more stuff also coming out. A lot of that. And then some other things, like there's some Kickstarter stuff planned, some more Armada videos planned. Armada's got stuff that's hopefully still supposed to be out by the end of the month. I'm not so sure it's going to make it, but there's still a chance. All right, guys, that's all I've got. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and also want to thank all of my patrons. You guys are amazing and definitely help make this channel possible. If you're interested in checking out Patreon, there are links in the description below. Thank you. And as always, have a great day.